What's good, y'all? Welcome to my first impressions for Loki. Just finished watching the episode, just now actually, and I would say, out of all the first episodes we've gotten for each of the Marvel Netflix series, for each of the Marvel Disney Plus series, the first two episodes we got of WandaVision, the first episode we got of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and this one, I would say this one was definitely the best out of those three. I thought it got me the most engaged into the series, was definitely the most entertaining, and the one I definitely got the most enjoyment out of. So, overall, Loki, the first episode of Loki was fantastic, man. I loved it. Tom Hiddleston once again fucking kills it as Loki, man. So without further ado, man, let's just jump right in. And this video will contain minor spoilers. I won't be getting anything too crazy, but there were a couple scenes that I did want to talk about from this first episode. So if you guys don't want to know any spoilers for this video, click off the video right now. But yeah, for everyone else, let's just jump right in. So of course, the cast includes Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Owen Wilson, which I'm pretty sure I haven't seen this dude in anything since like 2007. Sophia Di Murato, Sasha Leigh, Gugu Mabathi Raw. I had to be mispronouncing that, and many more. And the plot of Loki is, of course, taking place after the events of Avengers Endgame, where Iron Man, Cap, and Ant-Man all went back in time to Avengers 1 to grab the Tesseract and the other Infinity Stones. So they can, rebuild the gauntlet and bring everybody back to Earth after Thanos destroyed half the population and shit. Loki managed to grab the Tesseract before he fucked off, before anyone knew what to do next. This takes place after all that, and it's him on an adventure with Mobius across the multiverse. Simplest way I can put it. Yeah, man. But all jokes aside, this episode was fucking awesome. Now, one thing I found kind of hilarious first off is, of course, the time force or whatever they call themselves. I'm already slipping on their name, excuse me. But like the time force or whatever they call themselves. These guys were funny. Just the fact that they exist, the timekeepers. Or the Time Valorance Authority. That's what they were called. Time Valorance Authority. I found these guys hilarious. Now, I don't know if they're from the comics or not. So, correct me. So they probably are. This could all just be original shit they added for the show. But I love that their whole thing was, their whole, goal, their whole mission statement is all about making sure everybody stays on the correct path of time. Nobody goes off the beaten path and creates another multiverse and everything and all that shit. Which I found completely hilarious, that this whole thing is just them trying to make sure that the world doesn't go into complete chaos. Keeping everyone on one set path, keeping the timeline as one thing and not spreading into various multiverses, considering the comics of Marvel and as definitely DC are filled to the brim with various universes, multiverses, and all that shit. Like with Marvel, you got the Ultimates universe, you got the fucking 616 universe, you got the fucking Secret Wars shit, you got a bunch of other multiverses that I'm probably missing out on. But as you guys know, the Marvel universe can get pretty complicated if you delve into the whole shit with the various universes and shit. So I just found that kind of hilarious at the time. Valorant's Authority is all just making sure everything stays on one set path, it doesn't stray off, because the comics are. So I just thought that was pretty funny. But regardless, first off, the cast is great. Tom Hiddleston is, of course, once again fantastic as Loki. This man has been stealing the show of every Marvel movie he's been in since fucking Thor. Now, I will say this much. Tom Hiddleston's performance is fantastic in this episode. I'm not just talking about him just being Loki, like we've seen throughout Thor Ragnarok, Dark World, Avengers Endgame, not Endgame, he wasn't Endgame, but Infinity War and all that shit. I'm talking more like he actually gives a very good emotional performance midway through the episode, which I won't delve too much into. I'll delve into that scene a little bit, but not too much. But right there, I was like, yo, Tom Hiddleston's giving a great performance there. So shout out to him. Owen Wilson is, of course, fantastic. He was great for the little bit we saw of him throughout the episode. The rest of the cast was great as well. Now, one thing I found hilarious was, of course, Loki. I just love how Loki was portrayed in this whole episode, where you've seen Loki throughout the entire MCU, throughout its existence, from when we got introduced to Loki all the way back in Thor to where we are now. That Loki's always kind of been, especially this Loki that's before Thor: The Dark World, Ragnarok, and Infinity War, when he kind of has to change of heart. is where he's like, "Oh, I am a god," and all that shit. It's so funny seeing him basically being treated like a bitch in here. Like, you got them taking away, burning down his Asgardian leather. You got the collar. You got the fucking TVAs. Fucking with like the collar that messes with like the time, like time for setting him back into place from where it was like 5 or 10 seconds ago and shit. Loki kind of just gets treated like a bitch in this episode, and Mobius straight up calls him a pussy. In this episode, which had me die. I mean, he says pussy cat, but we all know what he meant. So that was fucking funny. That was hilarious, man. But yeah. So Tom Hiddleston was great. The rest of the cast was great. I really dug the overall design we saw of this show. I love the look we saw of the TVA's headquarters and all that shit. I thought the set design. I'm hesitant to call it set design because I'm pretty sure 90% of this was behind a green screen. So I don't know if you really can count that as set design. But either way, I thought the overall look of this series and the look of the TVA headquarters looked really cool. I liked it. One thing I also found, the music was of course fantastic as both of the episodes. The actual score as well as the song used in the ED, those were both great. The track, those were both great. But one thing I thought that was probably the best part of the episode, is about midway through, you have Loki and Mobius. You got them sitting in this room, and he basically sets up like this projector, and he's trying to get answers out of Loki, like what makes Loki actually tick and all that shit. And he shows him off footage of Loki from, I believe, from mostly Avengers 1. There might have been some footage of Thor 1 in there, but it was mostly Avengers footage. And that scene I thought was great with him going over the footage, but without doubt, probably the best part of it is that he actually goes a little bit beyond Avengers 1 and shows off what Loki does in the future MC movies, which happened in the main timeline. But of course, this Loki did not, of course, use a Tesseract to get out. That, of course, did not happen to this Loki, what happened to Thor the Dark World and everything. So seeing him kind of just looking at the events of the future through the lens of Loki pre-Dark World, I thought that was probably the highlight of the episode. And, of course, what goes on as he continues through that. I thought that was probably the highlight of the episode. The comedy was, of course, on point, as always, with the MCU. Great shit with him. Like, Loki's, like, trying to find the Tesseract, and, like, he's with this dude, and he tells him, like, tell me what the Tesseract is, or I'll cut you like a fish. He's like, what is a fish? That was pretty funny. But, one thing that I thought that... Now, if there was, like, only, like, one thing I really had a problem with, and I know I'm probably the only person that gives a shit about this, and I know some people probably give me shit like, oh, why are you complaining about that? And this is more or less a nitpick at best. Is when Mobius is showing Loki off the footage from Avengers 1, he obviously, of course, shows him, Agent Coulson's death. Or death, in quotations, because we all know he ended up surviving that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But he shows him the footage and tells him, like, oh, you killed him, and didn't his death make the Avengers band together to avenge him? They don't even bother mentioning. And keep in mind, the Timekeepers and the Time Valkyrie is all about keeping time in place, keeping, they're all-knowing beings and all that shit. They know everything and anything, and all that shit. They don't even bother mentioning the fact that he survived that and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. happened, which... Like I said, I know I'm probably the only person that gives a shit about that. I don't even like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that kind of annoyed me that they didn't even bother mentioning Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it just kind of bugs me, annoys me that the main MCU from, like, the movies and the Disney Plus series have never once thrown in a reference or any sort of nod to, like, any of the old TV shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Cloak and Dagger, and the Marvel Netflix series. I'm sure that's mostly a nitpick at best, guys, but that did annoy me if I'm being real. That did kind of annoy me. But yeah, man. One thing I also thought was pretty fun, actually, was when Loki is actually standing trial for, of course, messing with the timeline and everything, using the Tesseract to get out. He actually straight up mentions, oh, what about the Avengers? They use time travel to, get the Tesseract. Which I didn't even think about that. When I was watching the show and I saw him stand trial, when I was watching, like, when he first stand trial, not once did I ever think about, oh shit, why aren't the Avengers here for what they did in Endgame? That never once passed my mind. So when Loki mentioned it, when he was like, "Wait, why you got me? You should be getting them." I was like, "Oh shit, he has a good point. Why aren't they getting the Avengers?" Now, of course, the judge says, "Oh, that was all part of the plan. Yes, this be like some fucking eyes and shit. With this all being a part of the plan. But that I thought was pretty. That got me. I was like, oh shit, he's right. They should be going after the Avengers because they did also fuck with the timelines and defeat Thanos and everything. So that was cool. That I didn't even think about that. That was pretty awesome when I saw that. But yeah, man. Don't really got much more to say about Loki other than I'm definitely very excited to see what we got for the rest of the series. I thought this was a very strong first episode, and I'm definitely looking forward to what we have next with Loki and his other time-traveling adventures across the multiverse and across time. So yeah, man, tell me down below what you guys thought of the first episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you excited for the rest of Loki? And yeah, man, like I said before, don't really got much more to say other than that, guys. So overall, I am going to give Loki, the first episode anyway, a 10 out of fucking 10. So anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new, follow me on Instagram and Twitter for links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.